Sarah had just taken a 30-minute nap. When she woke up, she realized something was terribly wrong. The entire world had disappeared. She hopped on her bike and rode through the empty streets, only to find them eerily deserted. The usually busy food street was completely silent. Suddenly, she heard a dog barking. Oddly enough, a golden retriever seemed to be playing with something invisible. Sarah abandoned her bike and walked over to a bridge. As far as the eye could see, the highway was filled with parked vehicles, their hazard lights flashing, but frozen in place. The world was so quiet, it felt unnatural. Determined to find answers, Sarah pressed on. She needed to get to the hospital. Her brother, James, had been in an accident and was in the ICU. But when she arrived, the room was cold and empty. James was nowhere to be found. Frantic, Sarah couldn't comprehend what was happening. The entire world seemed to have vanished, leaving her all alone. She rushed outside, only to find a scene that looked like the aftermath of an apocalypse. It was as if everyone had vanished into thin air. She entered a supermarket, but there was no one there either. Sarah grabbed a bottle of soda, drank it quickly, and sat down on the floor, trying to make sense of it all. Just then, she heard a horn honking in the distance. She dashed outside and saw two strangers, Mark and Claire. Desperate, Sarah ran toward them, and after a frantic chase, she managed to stop them. They too had woken up to find the world empty. They were as confused as Sarah. Though they were strangers, they felt a strange bond, an unspoken connection. Together, the three of them set off in search of other survivors. But the more they explored, the more it seemed like something, or someone, was watching their every move. They made their way to a fancy office building, where they noticed a pair of feet sticking out from behind a corner. As they got closer, they realized it was a black man, David. His behavior was strange, and without a word, he hopped on his bike and rode off, leaving them behind. With no other leads, Sarah, Mark, and Claire got back on their bikes and continued their search. From sunrise to sunset, they combed the city, but something was still off. Why were the streetlights still on? They followed the lights and soon spotted the word "Help" written in big letters across a building. They entered, but before they could take another step, a robotic voice came through the security system, ordering them to drop their weapons. Reluctantly, they complied. The elevator doors slowly opened to reveal a handsome young man named Ethan. He too was searching for others. Ethan led them to an underground garage filled with limited edition luxury cars. He turned out to be a super rich kid, and the group drove through the empty city in his sports cars. Ethan used a loudspeaker to call out for anyone, but there was no response. For miles in every direction, not a single soul was to be found. The silence, the emptiness, it was as though they were the last people on Earth. And as the night grew darker, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. But by whom?